Came in to finish it off.
Someone was speeding us up.
Who's that? Who's that?
If you get with Muriel and Courtney.
How does the bus come get you?
I leave the house at 7:30. I like
Maybe that's Sheldon.
Oh yeah.
Mi quite keen go shake. Mi no gie shiga. The shin wa min min wa. No we don't tadmin. A house got so in Kinamash and not in the morning. What is this school that's almost 100% indigenous? What's going on in this classroom where I'm the majority? Why aren't people picking on me? And where are the cliques? Why am I calling the teacher by first name? The authority-driven mainstream model is just totally unacceptable in our school. It can't even be a last resort. Authority cannot drive this school, and I don't think there's a place in any Native education that uses authority or a hierarchy to demand respect or to demand performance. To Indigenous Health and Healing, which is the title of the whole section, so it makes sense.
There's that teacher-to-student relationship. Because in the culture, we're taught that we're all equal, right? It doesn't, just because you're a teacher, it doesn't mean that you're higher than me. No, we're both right here. We're all equal, it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? And that's one thing I really like about this school. I was just so used to the whole mainstream idea, right? That's all I thought that there was. So I came here and they try and base things around the culture, you know, like my teacher Alex, he tends to use the medicine wheel when he's teaching his class, you know, to give those visual learners that help, and for him it helps him too, you know what I mean? And we drum every morning, we smudge, we have an opening prayer, you know what I mean? The setting here, it's a family.
The idea of living up to your potential is only relative to what you see in yourself. And we need to get the students to see themselves as valued, respected human beings. If we try and do the academics ahead of that curve, we're going to lose the students. They might as well stay in the mainstream. But if we can get them to believe in their culture, their community, and themselves all as one thing, then the academics just follow so nicely.
It's really comfortable here. You can be yourself, and it's like there's no judging. They help you with so much. They make sure you understand things, and it's really, really great.
It feels like a family and a community. You don't have to be scared or shy of people.
Previously, I was attending the secondary school. It was supposed to be, it was a native school actually, but we never really learned what we're actually learning here. So that's why I'm glad to be coming here, learn a lot about, not only about myself, but also the culture, the language, and everything that surrounds that, being an Anishinaabe.
If we take a look at the history of education, our education to begin with, we find that when we had contact, Columbus and his gang decided that we didn't have an education system, that we were savages and that we didn't know anything. But little did they know that, yes, we did have an education system. The children that we had were learning from the first day they were born. They were swaddled in their tikanoggins and leaning against a tree, learning what was going on, seeing what was going on. And then as they got older, they would learn their role within the community, within the village. They were taken off by their grandparents or their parents, and they were taught what was needed. And then we had Columbus come and took everything away from us, took away so much, our language, our pride, our culture. All of this was lost, and now here we are trying to gain it back. We have a vision. We have a vision for our students. We want our children growing up being proud of who they are. And the system that we have right now is failing our children.
I think we're failing so much because really inside we want to go back to that bush. We want to learn about all these things.
It's because we had our own way of educating ourselves.
Yeah. Like right in here when I'm listening to elders speaking and like I like go by that fire over there and like elders are teaching me like the teachings and giving me songs and like teaching me about all these medicines, and we're talking about how we want to better our people. This is where I feel right.
Yes.
When I'm like in the city walking around seeing buildings everywhere, I don't feel right. But when I hear all of this and see all of this out here, it's beautiful and I feel at home.
I think our school system has been failing Anishinaabe youth because they don't offer any sort of pride in their identity. So they go to school, they learn very little about their own identity. They even get made to feel ashamed of who they are. So it's a very toxic environment for our youth, and a lot of them don't make it through. A lot of them pick up unhealthy habits and fall in with the wrong people, and then it's just so easy to get off of the path when you don't really know who you are or where you come from. And the school system is not supporting that identity seeking.
Right now we're very focused on an academic approach to things, and people get quite restless with it. You see a lot of people skipping classes, and you got to wonder why. They're obviously not enjoying the content, right? If we made it more engaging, more kinesthetic, more hands-on essentially, I think a lot of people would be a lot more involved, and they'd take home a lot more from it. In the past, I'm confident that the way we learned was through doing. When we learned to hunt, we went off and we went on the hunt and we learned from our elders. Picking berries and harvesting the things that Mother Earth gives us. We didn't just go off into the bush and pick it, and we also didn't have a textbook in the past either. We learned it through speaking, oral tradition, and actually doing the activities.
I think the education system would be good to incorporate more nature-based learning, outdoor classrooms.
Camping in the bush for a whole semester and end up getting the 4 credits you still need. Like history, you could learn so much history for like, yeah, just like outdoor ed program, but like more towards
cultural
like
things.
Native culture. You could get a language credit, you could get a geography credit, you could get a history credit just by being all around here, and I'm pretty sure there's more that I'm missing.
Our native language classes, our Anishinaabemowin, should be offered just as French is offered in English schools as like a second language or even first language programs. That would be very interesting to see.
Aboriginal people are very visual, and that's how we learn. And I think that's how it should be, not sitting in a desk, you know. When we sit here in the teepees, we learn so much about ourselves, and we should already know that already. And we shouldn't be searching so hard for that. It's something we should already know. And I think bringing all this here that we had this week to our schools would make people just shine the way they should. So that's my goal, to bring that back to where it should be.
You have to go to school in this day and age. You can't survive without it. So if they implemented some like that, like towards kind of like a cultural aspect, that would just be great.
I'd say that we're very impressionable at this age, and really we are the future. Eventually we will be 40, 50 years old, and we will be the lawmakers and the people who run the government here. And if we don't learn these things now from the people ahead of us, what are we going to learn it from?
We're ready to go. Our frontline education specialists from our communities have come together and have developed a model that looks at the whole administrative aspects, the curriculum, the development, the clusters of groups of First Nations that geographically and historically work together in best practices and best ways to deliver education services outside of the mainstream process that hasn't really been that successful for our communities. We've got all the elements in line. In fact, we had a very successful Grand Council this year in a special forum dealing with education, and we unanimously passed, all of our leadership passed this initiative to move on into the next stage of negotiating a fiscal package.
So this system that we've developed is from the ground up, as opposed to the way it is maybe in other parts of the country where it's a top-down process. Our system is a grassroots process, so that the grassroots people and the students and the teachers and the community members help develop the process to what it is today, so that in that education system are all the things that are important to the Anishinaabe people: the culture, the traditions, the language. All of those things are part of the education system. That's the only way that the Anishinaabe students are going to be able to build their esteem, so that they build on their education. In that way, we're hoping that the education gap will close. And it's already been proven. We understand that in the Mi'kmaq territory, where the Mi'kmaq people have taken over their own education system, they've already showed a marked improvement in education success rates. And in the same manner, when we institute our Anishinaabe education system, it will show the same results.
In our negotiations with Canada, we're not seeking Canada's jurisdiction or authority. We're not asking Canada for anything. What we're doing is we're looking for Canada's recognition of jurisdiction we already have. Who can educate Anishinaabeg better than the Anishinaabeg themselves? Through our negotiations, we took 10 years to develop that education system, and the education system was developed by Anishinaabeg educators, principals, teachers, fathers, mothers, leadership. We took the system that we developed to the membership. We took the system to Anishinaabeg citizens who live off reserve, to Anishinaabeg citizens who live on reserve. We showed them an initial model. We got their input. We had them design and redesign until we came up with the current model that we have in place. We also had 3 education symposiums where the model itself was presented and then confirmed by Anishinaabeg leadership and citizens in attendance. So we know that this education system that we've developed is truly an Anishinaabeg education system. It wasn't something that was designed or based on the provincial Ontario public education system. It was something designed by the Anishinaabeg for the Anishinaabeg. We're looking at developing our own curriculum, a curriculum of the land, a curriculum that's based not just on classroom learning, but taking the learning outside of the 4 walls of the school and of the classroom, outside into the community and outside onto the land, on the waters, so that our students have a better understanding of their relationship with the world around them. So we have a draft Anishinaabeg Education Act right now, and the way the Act is drafted, it allows for each of the First Nations to make its own determination on what aspects of that law will apply in their own community. That law will be approved by the leadership and by the citizens of each individual First Nation, and that will allow the community to exercise jurisdiction over education on terms that match their community needs. With those laws in place, we'll not only have programs and service enhancement, but we'll also have a new relationship with the provincial government. For those communities that have tuition agreements in place, we're not going to replace those or disturb the good arrangements that exist, but what we're looking to do is to enhance the educational relationship between the First Nations and their local school boards through the Ministry of Education. So the good things that are there, we'll build on those, and what we'll do is increase educational opportunities and student success for Anishinaabeg students. So there are challenges that Anishinaabeg students face that lead to less success. And in order to change that, we need to change the education delivery, we need to change the curriculum, and we need to create opportunities to support our students. That's what the Anishinaabeg education system is all about. It's about making a difference so that students will be interested in remaining in school, that they see themselves as part of that school community, an integral part of the school community. Ontario won't do it for us, and Canada won't do it for us. It's up to us as Anishinaabeg to implement this system for our own children. There'll be benefits for others as well, but our primary responsibility is to our Anishinaabeg students in ensuring that they know who they are and that they're strong Anishinaabeg citizens.
We need this for our children, we need this for ourselves, we need this for the adults and the elders. Our children deserve to see that we have done a lot here. Our children deserve to have that pride, that self-worth, and knowing who they are and that they can love themselves. That's what we need for our children. And that's what I believe that the system will do.